Good evening, America. Thank you for joining me this evening. Questions about Judaism, philosophy. Frequently asked questions about the Talmud or sacred books in Judaism. It's important to keep in mind that in Judaism, I'm going to have to get a Kleenex. Allergies are starting. I had the panels on the porch opened all day, and the trees are starting to turn. I would like to invite all of you who would like to be a guest to co-host with me next Wednesday night. That includes you, Manny. RabbiBlock@hotmail.com. We'll meet in my Zoom room. We can discuss the topics, what we'll discuss, and how we'll interact with each other. It's not fair to you for me just to invite you and start throwing questions without any procedure or any way. So please email me, and every single one of you who wants to be a guest will be on next Wednesday night. Frequently asked about the Talmud, the Torah, Midrash. Judaism, like Islam, has no central authority. That doesn't mean that there isn't a chief rabbi. That's left over from the British Empire. It's a political appointment, no authority over Jews. And the same with certain spiritual leaders in Islam. They've gone beyond the bounds because an imam is a teacher, a rabbi is a teacher. And without the same authority as the Pope or the Archbishop of Canterbury or the head of a synod, I answer for Rabbi Block. Now, I'm frequently asked about Zionism. Zionism was a political movement. The word Zionist was coined by a journalist in 1850. I believe his name was Birnbaum. And it had to do with the establishment of a Jewish homeland. When the Zionist movement started, there were several distinct groups. One of them was political Zionism. And that's what most of you think of, most of us think of, when we think of Zionism. We think of the political Zionist movement, establishment of a Jewish homeland. However, there was religious Zionists. There were spiritual, cultural Zionists, which I am, started by Achad Ha'am, Asher Ginsburg, and the idea, the principle behind it was a country would be nice. However, the main function of the country is not to extend its borders, not to control territory, but to be a lighthouse, a place that Jews could look at for spiritual guidance, for cultural guidance. Very different from political Zionism. Political Zionism focused very narrowly on a Jewish homeland and how to do that and what it would take, and then to take its place among the nations. As we're learning today, it's not so easy being a country. Ukraine, Russia, Iran, Israel. It's not easy being a country. One needs defense, one needs an income, one needs resources. There are lots of things needed to be a country. And so the cultural, spiritual Zionists said, we can have a Jewish homeland and it could be jointly owned by Christians, Jews, and Muslims. The territory can be a Jewish territory and a Muslim territory and a Christian territory and an international territory. The focus was not on land or territory. Someone just asked, did Zionists hijack the Jewish religion? In a sense, not so much hijack the religion, but got everyone to change their focus, to focus too much on politics, on land and a country, and not stay focused on the spiritual, cultural aspects. And we're watching that unfold today. Israel is a country. And you don't want to make the mistake of equating Zionism with Judaism. Zionism, according to Birnbaum, is gone because the country now exists. And so Zionism has now changed not to the establishment of a country, but to maintaining the country. And as you know, I've always supported a two-state solution where both states, Israel and Palestine, recognize the right of the other to exist, and one country doesn't exist to destroy the other. And one country doesn't write in its charter, its basic principle is the destruction of another country. Can't have that. If Mexico and Canada decided that their reason for existing was destroying the United States, we'd have a serious problem. Serious. Okay? So, if we have a Palestine, it has to recognize the right of Israel to exist. Israel has the right of Palestine to exist, and neither exists to destroy the other, and neither becomes a platform. The problem being political. Iran, using its surrogates, its proxies, it's arming, it's creating what we're watching unfold, and it's horrendous. It's just awful. And it doesn't help to take sides and say this one's right, this one's wrong, this one's the underdog, this one's the... That doesn't really help. Where do you think Jesus is right now? With God, with the One, where all of us go when our time on earth is over. We return, the body, as I'm learning at 80, it's not the same as when I was 20. And so the body returns to, it's not the same as when I was 20. And so the body returns to the spirit, the soul, whatever word you may want to think of to use, the self, who you are, returns to the One and becomes part of the One. Mr. Black, I mentioned this before, email me, rabbiblock@hotmail.com, and I guarantee you'll host with me. We'll discuss the topics. We'll discuss how to do two things. We could have a panel of all of you. Now, without a central authority, what do I think about LGBTQ community? Each of us was created in God's image. Each of us has a right to be free, to follow our lifestyle, as long as it is not physically destructive. You might imagine that Democrats are bad, we should get rid of them. Republicans are destroying the country. No. I'm talking about actual physical organization. If you want to believe that the earth is flat, that's fine. Your politics, your position, it only changes if you want to change the laws to require me to believe what you believe. If you want to change the laws, then that's different. However, if one has a particular interest, if one wants to join clubs, as long as it doesn't interfere with my freedom to be a rabbi. I grew up, when I drifted away. What is the best way to get back into Judaism slowly? My book, How to Be Jewish in 30 Seconds, available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or wherever books are sold. That's how you'll get back into Judaism. How to Be Jewish in 30 Seconds, my book explores the feelings, the emotions, and not the ritual as the only way. Each of us has to find our path to God. Whether it is living Jesus, whether it is following the teachings of Muhammad, we find our path. And let's follow that path. If you love money, see how that works for you. Someone just said, buy his book. Wow, that's how. Thank you very much. How to Be Jewish in 30 Seconds. Thank you for promoting my book. And the cartoons by Joe Sutliff. The cartoons alone are worth the price of the book. You don't even have to read me. Just look at Joe's cartoons. And I love the question someone asked because I want to ask L.A. Graham 323, have you stopped beating your dog or Pat? Have you started abusing? Just answer yes or no. Have you stopped abusing your partner? If you're going to ask me a question, don't word it in that way. Have you stopped doing? Because it infers that you're doing it and you're asking a yes or no question. And when I phrase it like I just did, you realize it's a silly question. It's not going to get you an answer. The money buys freedom. Money buys time. Happiness is what we do with what we're buying. How much do you love? Remember the 7 deadly sins? Love of money is one of them. Money's a tool. What are you doing with it? What are you buying with it? What are you getting from your spending? A lot of individuals spend, but it's not just money, it's also time. It's also love. It's also friendship. We spend a lot, and we're not getting a fair value. We're not getting a good return. What is it that each of us is looking for? Someone really likes that question. Have you stopped beating your dog? Answer yes or no. People really like to phrase questions that way. So without having the central authority, one raises questions in Judaism about our sacred books. And so it depends on study, knowledge, and the outcome. What is your goal? Are your actions and your beliefs leading to your goal? Think of a triangle. Actions, beliefs, goals. How much time do you spend? It's kind of fun, asking questions. It's kind of fun seeing if you can aggravate someone. It's a source of entertainment. Okay. What is your goal? And we've come to realize that things don't make us happy. They make my life easier. They're pleasurable to have. But you know, there's always an iPad that's faster. Apple just came out with the Neo, and everyone's raving about it. I still have my book, my Apple computer that's white. Can't use it anymore because the system's outdated and the programs won't run because they keep updating. However, for most purposes, it's fine. It's nice to have something reliable. It's nice to have something faster that acts. But there's a point where it's not going to change your life. So we have to stop for a minute. And that's the function of religion. Now, there are organized religions, and there are disorganized, unorganized religions. You know, you can be very religious without joining an organized religion. So don't make the mistake of thinking that organized religions speak for all of us and are the last word. They're not. People gather together, form a community of like-minded people, and humans are social beings. We like that. However, do you think it's bad when non-Jews marry Jews? No, my website, RabbiOnTheGo.com, I have been performing interfaith, interracial, interdenominational, however you may word it, and go to my website, RabbiOnTheGo.com, for 100 years. So it's not only do I think it's good, you can't even ask if it's bad. No, not only don't I think it's not bad, I think it's a very good thing that we don't want to let an accident, something superficial, prevent us from being with someone whom we love. If you have a loving relationship with someone, then no one should be denied the right to be joined together. And that's the motto on my website, RabbiOnTheGo.com. Joshua Block. Name sounds familiar. Again, remember, co-hosts, email me and you'll be with me next week. They keep popping up. I know you want to inject something in this conversation. So, Joe Sutliff, our YouTube channel is called The Rabbi and I. I'm the Rabbi, Joe's the I. Joe is exploring a call-in show for us. And when I talked to him last Sunday, we're getting closer. I'll let everyone know. And then you won't have to ask to join as a guest. You'll be able to call me. Once we get that set up, we may be doing it through YouTube. The problem with here is you have to type in and then you appear on the screen and we go, no, we need something more stable, more respectful. So I'm Reform. Really non-Orthodox. That's a much better way to look at Judaism, as Orthodox and non-Orthodox. And there are many groups that are non-Orthodox, and there are many groups that are Orthodox. It's easier if you think of Judaism as traditional Orthodox or non-traditional non-Orthodox. Then, once you've seen that, you can see how each develops, how each presents itself in Orthodoxy or non-Orthodoxy. That's a better way than trying to label Reform, Conservative, Reconstructionist, Renewal, or any one of the other movements. I don't recommend it. I don't know what, it's not that I don't recommend. I don't know any synagogues midtown. I've had several small congregations. My career has been with a chaplain with the VA. I spent 40 years in psychiatry. I love, when people ask, what do? I say, I spent 40 years in a psychiatric hospital, and it's always a good icebreaker because people then either make jokes or take it seriously or look. I was a chaplain in a psychiatric hospital for the VA. My first 20 years were in neuropsychiatry. My second 20 years were as an addictions chaplain. And I'm very proud of my career. I'm proud of my veterans. Beginnings by Rudyard Kipling. I think I read The Beginnings by Rudyard Kipling 100 years ago. One of the things that I thought but never either committed to or actually did was to read the books that I either read when I was younger or was supposed to read but read Cliff's Notes instead. But there's so much other material current. There's so many things to read now. There's so many things I'm interested in that I just haven't disciplined myself enough to go back and start reading if not just classics. Oh, it's in New York. No, I was at the Baltimore VA. Someone just asked about New York City. That's why they said Midtown. My time has been spent in the Baltimore, D.C. area. So where was I? No central authority. Don't fall into the trap when you read something or hear something that Jews, all Jews, most Jews believe this. You have to look at the source, and you have to say, with no central authority, oh, take me. What is Rabbi Block talking about? You can Google me. You can research me. You can ask your favorite AI. Yeah, why don't you do that? Ask your favorite AI. I'm 80. Rabbi Kenneth B. Block. You can read my whole history, my life. There were photographs when I was on the school board in Harford. I was on the school board for Harford County for 10 years. You can read about my pronouncements, my career, and there's a lot of nice pictures of me. I had hair in some of them. It's really fun to look at. That's one of the positive things about the internet, now about AI, is if you read, do Jews believe this, someone said Jews do this, don't just Google it. Use your favorite AI. AI will research it for you. Rather than accepting, there's a million midrash on a single event. Exactly. The goal is understanding what's outside my window. How do I relate to everything that's not me? Afraid I don't know anyone from near Yisrael Yeshiva, so I can't help you. You may want to ask them if they know me. Schroeder's cat. That's the answer to what came first, to the chicken or the egg. Schroeder's cat. Or someone just said twice, what came first, the chicken or the egg? The answer is 42. Now, having been a chaplain with the VA, my environment and socialization was with chaplains, was with the VA, and not with the congregations. Not being a congregational rabbi, it's in a different group. You're with the military, you're with chaplains and chaplain training, which is not exclusive to Jewish or Christian. And Israel as a country has a right to exist. I'm not happy with its politics. I don't like its decisions, but I'm not an Israeli. I'm an American. And Israel has made some bad choices. In fact, if you go to our podcast, The Rabbi and I, or the YouTube channel, The Rabbi and I, if you're really interested, it'll answer your questions about my feelings on the state of Israel. Okay? As opposed to posing a question that doesn't have an easy, quick answer because you're looking for something. I realize that. And the answer doesn't lend itself to your question. So you have to be more specific about your question. What happens if a Jew... I do not keep kosher. Nothing happened. I kept kosher for many years. I was a vegetarian for many years. I was kosher for many years. And I did it to see if it helped my relationship with God. And it didn't enhance my relationship with God. And so I stopped doing it. Didn't work for me. Doesn't mean it doesn't work for other people. Okay? But you asked it about me. I do not keep kosher, though I did. I was macrobiotic in college. Different things. And that's what each of us has to do to help find the path, the spiritual path to the one. And remember that the word halakha in Judaism, often translated as Jewish law, halakha means the path. Now, by extension, it's the path to God and etc., etc. So Sharia, which we call Islamic law, the word means the path. It's how Muslims see the path to God. There are no police. Look at Iran. Look at Afghanistan. Look at countries that have instituted their version of Sharia, not Sharia law, their version. Look how backward, look how they persecute people. Then look at countries that say each of us is free to choose a path. That's why the founding fathers separated church and state. Historically, never had a good outcome. When there's a state religion you have to follow, you beat, you punish, you whip people, you even shoot them or kill them. What they do in Iran. The best way is to be an example. Be so good a Christian that people will look at you and say, I want to follow Jesus. Be a good Jew so that someone will look at you and say, I want to be Jewish. Don't condemn other religions. Don't promote yours as the best. Don't tell people they're going to some terrible place if they don't, or some good place if they do. Don't do that. Be a lighthouse. Be a lighthouse. Be a light for your faith or religion, whether you're Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, Jewish, Baptist. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar. And we often lose sight of that old adage that Grandma used to say, be nice. Be respectful. And then people will look at you and say, what religion is that person? What path do they follow? I want to walk on their path. But if you promote hate and destruction and killing, it's not going to attract, maybe immediately. What is my take on paganism? If it helps unite you with the earth, with the one, if it makes you the person you want to be without destroying and destruction, I wouldn't condemn it. I wouldn't attack it. Well, we're coming close to the end of our time together. I want to thank you for watching and listening. And be on the lookout when I begin to announce our call-in show. I have a serious question. When and how the Day of Atonement will be fulfilled? You know, it's called a doorknob question. There, you ask it just at the end of the session with the therapist, and it's usually a doozer. And it's really neat. I love that. Okay? Stay alert, stay safe, and thank you for this evening.